The next version of Linux Mint is here. It's 22.2. It is still based on Ubuntu 24.04 LTS, but it does come with a bunch of cool visual stuff, notably in how you integrate GNOME and libadwaita apps that are basically everything that is being developed on Linux currently. Well, how you integrate those inside the Mint desktop look and feel, themes and icons, and so that's what we're going to focus on with, of course, everything else that comes in Mint 22.2, and also this message from our sponsor. So this video is sponsored by Proton Pass. You know about Proton Mail and Proton Drive and also probably Proton VPN. They are your all-in-one end-to-end and zero-access encrypted suite of services and tools that can replace the proprietary ecosystems of Google, Microsoft, Apple, and whatever else. But they also do have a password manager called Proton Pass. It's the one I currently use for every single one of my passwords. And they just added a brand new feature to Proton Pass, which is called Emergency Access. What this is basically letting you choose 5 trusted contacts that can access your Proton account on your behalf in the event of a specific emergency. Now this means that in the event where you're incapacitated and you don't have access to your computer, or you absolutely need to give someone access to certain encrypted files, contacts, passwords, or emails, well, now you can. You can give these 5 people immediate access when you enable the feature, or you can set a custom timer which will give everyone access to all of that after a set period of time. And of course, you can revoke and tweak that access at any time if your personal situation changes. Proton is the suite I use for everything personal. All my emails, all my passwords, all my documents, everything is synced through their account. As always, you've got a link down in the description to get started with a free Proton account, and they have paid plans for more features, more storage space, and the like. You know how things work. The link is down there. Now, every screen capture that you'll see in this video has been recorded on the Framework Laptop 16 with a fully installed Linux Mint 22.2, not on a VM, so performance that you see is indicative of real-world performance on actual hardware. So the basics out of the way first. Obviously, this is still not a major release of Linux Mint. It's not like version 23, so it is still based on Ubuntu 24.04 LTS with its Linux kernel, with the hardware enablement stack, of course, meaning that you do get to install this on a relatively new computer and things should be supported properly. It still relies on X11 by default. The Wayland session has been improved significantly. You can absolutely go and use that, but it is still marked as experimental and not the default. It will probably not be the default before the next major version of Mint based on Ubuntu 26.06 LTS. Okay, now that this is out of the way, the first very important thing that you get in Mint 22.2 is fingerprint reader support. If you have a fingerprint reader on your device that is supported, you can add your fingerprints in. So you have a nice little GUI called Fingwit, which you get to use to add any single fingerprint that you want. Now, you can use that fingerprint to just log into your system when you're on the login manager, but you can also use it in the terminal and anywhere else by just touching the fingerprint reader. And as you can see here with sudo apt update, it is working. So I didn't even have to type in my password. You might need to log out and log back in for those fingerprints to be registered and usable though. Other elements of the system that do require some kind of a pseudo authentication will also require your password, and you can just touch things up and it works, or you can of course rely on your password if you prefer. Also, it is a clever implementation, meaning that everywhere where you actually need the password, for example for decrypting an encrypted hard drive, then it's only going to ask the password, because the fingerprint would not work, and so it would ask the password after the fingerprint, so it's just going to ask you for the password and not the fingerprint in the cases where the fingerprint cannot unlock what you're looking at. So pretty clever, really useful, nice little graphical tool. It's the Mint way, basically. You get a GUI, it's nicely done, it works everywhere, it's clever. They always do stuff like that, and it's nice. Now, the really important change that Mint has in 22.2 is the debut of what they call libadwaita. This is a version of libadwaita that is meant to integrate libadwaita apps, so GNOME and GTK4 apps, better in Linux Mint. Here you have some regular GNOME apps, and as you can see, the color scheme, not exactly the same, the accent color, not really the same either, the window controls, not looking like Mint's window controls, so things aren't really properly integrated. And if I change the theme, they're also not going to follow that theme because, well, those are not well integrated with the system because they are not made for Linux Mint specifically. They are meant to interact with GNOME with a locked-in theme. So Mint 22.2 tries to change that, and you might notice that these two apps did not change theme. That's because they're installed through Flatpak and FlatHub, and these GNOME apps will apparently not be themed properly, even with the change that Linux Mint implements. But if these GNOME/libadwaita apps come from the repos of Linux Mint, then in that case, that's absolutely going to work. So you can change the theme directly to anything you want, and these apps will automatically reflect it. Now, do note, they will not follow the actual button shapes or the actual graphical user interface style that you might expect from Linux Mint. But they will follow the accent colors, they will give you the proper window controls for the application, they will go to a dark mode if you go to a dark mode, and even if you use the simplified settings and you use the Mint Y theme, they will automatically follow that with the proper accent color as well. Meaning that as long as you stick to the repos of Linux Mint and not to Flatpak applications, you will get a relatively decent experience. Sure, that's not the same GUI that you might expect. Some applications just don't look exactly the same. You won't get your usual menu bars, your usual title bars. It's all header bar based, and it's all the GNOME GUI, but at least the applications will follow the theme properly. And it is actually really well implemented because whatever you pick as the default theme in Mint, if you pick a mixed mode, dark mode, light mode, it changes on the fly automatically with the accent color, and it doesn't break the application itself because it doesn't try to change the button shapes, it doesn't try to change the GUI, it just changes the colors in CSS. Which is, I think, absolutely wonderful, and honestly, this libadapta effort, it doesn't require any change from the developers as far as I can tell. It's just here on the system, and if the system detects that, it uses that instead of using libadwaita to theme the applications, meaning other distros that do want to integrate GNOME apps inside their desktop's look and feel will be able to do that. I'm thinking maybe about Cosmic, but maybe even KDE could do it if they wanted, LXDE, XFCE, whoever else will be able to pick that up and make sure that the GNOME apps actually follow the right colors. I'm sure libadwaita developers will not really like that because they don't necessarily want distros to theme the applications by default, but this isn't quite the theme. It's just more following the color scheme itself and not really much else. So I think it's a good change. I really like it, it's really well implemented in the usual Mint fashion, so props to Mint's developers. It will make using Linux Mint a lot better because GNOME apps are kind of unavoidable. Now, if there's a way to apply that to Flatpak apps, that would be nice as well, because Flatpak is the source for most of these GNOME apps nowadays. Now, interestingly enough, this also means that there's accent color support throughout Linux Mint now, which is good, but it also means Linux Mint does not have to fork every single GNOME app that has moved to libadwaita. They can just keep shipping them as they are, and they will look right at home as long as they install them through the repos, which is what they usually do. Now, of course, that's not it for the Mint 22.2 changes. First, the note-taking application is now upgraded to support Wayland properly, which is nice, meaning you can have those little floating sticky notes on Wayland as well, but you also now have an Android application, which is called, unfortunately, Stinky Notes, like Sinky Notes, like sinking, but with a T for sticky, so it's Stinky Notes. That's an unfortunate name. It is on F-Droid if you want it. It uses a sync thing to actually sync notes between your computer and your phone, which is, I think, pretty cool as a change because it starts building a little ecosystem that you can decide to use or not if you set up sync thing yourself. Now, Hypnotics, the TV player that lets you play like 3 TV channels from any country, now supports a theater mode that hides those controls, and also a borderless mode which will hide all of the GUI if you prefer that. It is also apparently much faster to start, although I can't really vouch to that because I've never really used that kind of stuff. Now, Xviewer, which is the image viewer of Linux Mint, now automatically disables the EDID color correction that you had by default previously, because it kind of fouled the colors and how things looked, and it really conflicted with the color management protocols that Linux Mint can potentially handle. If you use Warpinator, the file transfer app that Linux Mint developed a while back, you now have an iOS version of that as well, which will let you transfer files from iOS to your Linux Mint PC and vice versa, which is also pretty cool to expand the reach of Mint. Now, visually, something you probably won't really notice is that the default theme in Linux Mint is now a bit bluer. They said they added a little bit of blue in their gray. I honestly can't really see the difference myself, but this is something that they did to integrate those applications, all the Mint applications, better with the default libadwaita look and feel, so the default theme doesn't have to change all the colors immediately. But yeah, that's something that they did, so the grays are now closer on those two little themes. Obviously, this won't really matter because, well, if you change the theme, it also changes it in libadwaita apps if you want that, so not really a big deal here. This apparently also helps with having a softer color palette by default on Linux Mint, whether it's on the light theme or on the dark theme, although, as I said, I can't really personally see a big difference, but I'm not a daily Linux Mint user, so you might notice it more if you are. Now, the software manager has a slightly redesigned home screen here, which will display, as usual, the featured apps, the categories, the top-rated apps, and a little slideshow of recommended applications. Now, when you look at a specific application, you also have a little help button here telling you what system packages are and what Flatpak packages are, with some information. It's not necessarily extremely accurate. They take more disk space. That's not necessarily always true. The security is not guaranteed by Linux distro. That's absolutely true. It's essential that you trust the maintainer before installing Flatpak. It's good to have this kind of information. It brings some context if you're new to Linux. And that's about it for Mint 22.2. Like I said, it is not a gigantic update for Linux Mint users. You're getting a few features here and there, a few potential companion apps for either iOS or Android, but not both. Applications. Sticky Notes and Warpinator got 2 versions of their app, so that's maybe something that's coming. Who knows? It's volunteer work after all. The important thing here is the libadapta and the theming of the GNOME and libadwaita apps. I think it is the right path. Linux Mint explored the idea of forking GNOME applications that moved to libadwaita. In my opinion, this would have been way too much work to handle for a single distro. They already have to uproot a lot of stuff that Ubuntu does, replacing snap packages by deb packages, replacing certain system elements, basically undoing what they don't like from the Ubuntu base. They also develop the entire Cinnamon desktops and the X apps, and they do the Linux Mint Debian edition as well, which is some extra work. Having to maintain applications from forks, from GNOME apps on top of that would be really tricky, I think. So this is the best of both worlds. You do not get the most well-suited GUI compared to other Mint applications, but you do get a unified look and feel with these GNOME apps looking at home on Mint with the right window controls, the right accent colors, the right theme colors as well. And I think this is fine. This is the way that it should be handled. This is probably what XFCE and other desktops that rely on some GNOME apps should do, and I think libadapta will be the foundation for that. Now, if libadapta can bring back what we used to have in the GNOME 2 days, which was you had your desktop looking however you liked it, and all apps conform to that. If libadapta can bring that back to the other desktops that aren't GNOME, I think that's pretty good. I think that's a good move, and I'm all behind it. It doesn't seem to break apps, it doesn't change the entire theme of the applications themselves, it just changes the colors. And honestly, this should be a thing in libadwaita. By default, it should not be something that Mint developers had to implement themselves. Of course, if you're a Linux Mint 22.1 user, you can perform the upgrade to 22.2. You just open your update manager, you run all the system updates, you restart the update manager, and in the edit menu, you'll have a little entry upgrade to 22.2, and you can perform the in-place upgrade right now. Usually, Mint versions are very well tested. I didn't run into any specific bugs here, so it's good. Thanks everyone for watching the video. Leave me your usual feedback, likes, like bell, notifications, subscribes, whatever. You know how things work. Thank you all for watching, and I guess you'll see me in the next one. Bye!